What's good, everybody, and welcome back to Hyperfocus Brand Review. Today we are talking about two things that are particularly close to our hearts that we love. One is branding and the other is sneakers. Recently, there has been a brand new drop from StockX, an app that both of us are frequent users of. And they've just done a brand new refresh and branding for their product. And we want to jump straight in and have a look at what it's all about.
Yeah, I am a frequent user, but I'm more looking at stuff, not buying it.
But that equals frequent users, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think you are more like a frequent user than I am.
I do like my sneakers, yes.
Yeah, but we both like some fresh kicks on our feet. So I guess that's where, we are very connected to this product.
Yeah, but I'm sure they're not super interested in our choice of footwear, right? I think that you're more interested to hear about our opinion on the brand new rebrand from StockX. So why don't we jump straight in?
I just wanted to ask you because I think people are maybe interested in this. What was your first pair of sneakers? Like which ones you really,
my first
stuck in your mind?
They were the Reebok Pump Hexalite, the first edition.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I was big into basketball when I was at school, and then after that, I started to buy Jordans like everybody else, and fell in love with the Jordan 4. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, since my background is more from skateboarding, I was more into skate sneakers than basketball shoes. So more like my first were Airwalks. With the big how do you call it? Klettverschluss in German.
Velcro.
Velcro, the big Velcro system thing.
Okay, very cool. Yeah.
They were big back in the days. Okay, and let's
Velcro
go.
was never big, I'm sure.
It was big back then.
All right. Anyway, branding. Let's jump into
branding. StockX. So, what is StockX doing? What is it all about? So it's an e-commerce platform, but they actually took the stock market approach. So they are not just an eBay for sneakers where you can bid for second market shoes. It's more like you can actually see what's the value of the sneakers. So if there's like a product which is very rare, and on the other side there's like a big demand of customers, then obviously the price is very high. And you can always buy it for like the value which the product has at this moment. Mm-hmm. So that's actually the big thing about StockX, and it's pretty big. So they already have a value of $3.8 billion. So the whole company value is like this.
That's crazy. They're not so old either, right?
5 years.
5 years.
5 years now. Yeah. 25 million average monthly visitors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And how the system is working is you buy something on StockX, and then the products got sent to an authentication center. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Where they check if it's real, and if it's a used product, if it's how it was described, and they make sure that it's not a fake product, and then they send it to you. And they have, the biggest thing is obviously sneakers. Mm-hmm. They have streetwear, but also stuff like trading cards, high fashion items like bags, and also like jewelry and watches and all this kind of stuff.
How does this differentiate from the eBay model, for example?
Yeah, again, you always see the value of the product.
Okay. Yeah.
Because on eBay you just bid, and you say, okay, this is what it's worth for me. Mm-hmm. But there you have always like a value, and you can buy it for this price. You don't have to bid for something you imagine it's worth.
And this is also can be influenced by many things, right? And I think Collaborations and the influencer market also have quite a lot to do with this, especially with sneakers and streetwear culture in general, really.
Yeah, I mean they have already like famous people as investors. So already the first investor is Dan Gilbert, who owns the Cleveland Cavaliers, like a basketball team, which is already, if you have like an investor like this on board right from the beginning, you know, it's already like an influencer, so it's easier to get money. Plus they have Eminem and Mark Wahlberg, who invested very early into StockX.
Who started StockX?
It's a guy called Josh Luber, and I think 2 other founders, but he's like the face of the company, or actually he used to be the face.
He just recently left.
He just recently left the company. Maybe he made enough money to.
I'm sure
to
he was
make
handsomely rewarded for his departure.
Yes, to have a nice exit. Yeah. Okay, then I'd say let's jump into the rebranding, because that's what interests us the most.
I think what was actually interesting before with StockX, I think it was around for 5 years, I think, with pretty much no branding. I mean, I suppose, you know, we always talk about a brand is what people say it is, not what you say it is. And StockX held a lot of value within the sneaker community just because of the service that it offered. So really, apart from the logo and the excellent service outside of the kind of design sphere, it was accepted. So I mean, that also kind of raises a question: at what point and when do you really need to do the branding? When do you need to push, like from a design aesthetic? When does that actually play an important role?
Yeah, I mean, they created this whole reselling thing. Yeah, so I think that's what they were famous for. So all the time people are talking about reselling. I think StockX is, you know, it's close to that conversation. Yeah, so that's why, because you're right, they had no branding. So when you go into the app, it's a nice app, it works, but there's no branding at all, I would say. I think there's not even a logo inside the app somewhere.
I mean, the branding, it depends what you look at branding. I mean, it's a quality experience because you order something, you do your business on the app, and then you get the product pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're rewarded in that sense. But yeah, from a design aesthetic, not much.
Yeah, but we look at the branding they had before right now, and they have actually one very important branding piece, which is this verified authentic badge, which you get once you order a sneaker, and it got authenticated.
Yes.
Then you get this verified badge, which is kind of iconic, I would say. I think people even leave it on their sneakers.
Yeah?
Yeah, I've seen that, so...
Okay, yeah. Not for me.
All right, yeah, so it's this... But the main element of the old branding was this big X with the arrow, which stands for the stock market approach, I think. And yeah, the X was all over the place, always like really big, really bold. You know, you can see it here in the space, or even on this cap, on this, yeah, it's like huge.
Yeah, I mean, this is not really something that I associate with, but it's not, at that point, it was not really a lifestyle brand. I suppose it's becoming more, because it's becoming way more accepted, and actually companies like Nike are actually releasing products, sneakers on the platform before they even go into the store. So maybe this is also a reason to actually up the game when it comes to the actual aesthetics of the brand. Because before, I mean, if I look at the old one, yeah, it's very much in your face. I definitely know which app I'm opening or where to find it on my phone, but it's quite a loud and boisterous approach to a logo. I mean, the stock and the X, they don't really sit together very well. They're just very big and...
Yeah. So, what did they change? They have a new logo. So we have here old logo and the new logo next to each other, just for everybody to have a nice comparison. So as you can see, the X obviously is becoming much smaller. and like the overall thing, like the typography and the logo. So they are like more like one thing now. It's not like wordmark and logo. It's more like, wordmark plus the X at the end. And it has this more like geometric font approach, which already goes into the logo, which with these nice little details on the T and the K, and then which obviously come from the X.
And they've definitely moved away from the neon green.
Yeah.
It's much more muted green that they're working with.
Yeah, and also this beige, greenish background.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it feels much more premium, right?
I would say so. Yeah.
So the old one is more. The old one also reminds me on the Xbox logo somehow.
Because it has an X in it?
And the color, it's also it's this neon green and it's an X. So and it's very dynamic, so I think that's why it's somehow I know the Xbox logo does look different nowadays, but that's where the connection comes from. Okay, we have here a little video where they present like the 3 major changes they did on the logo. So they removed, as we noticed, the arrow. And they say, we removed the arrow, a reference to the stock market reflecting our move into a stage of modernization and expansion.
Yeah. I actually think, we're going to go through this, but I think it's a lot of waffle, to be quite honest. It's a designer's. Sometimes, I've found myself doing it as well. Actually, we always say that design should be a reason behind it, but sometimes you do find yourself shortcutting that. You design something, you like the look of it, and then you backtrack, and then you try and put some kind of idea on top of a design that you've already done to justify why you did it. And I think that this has to be an example. I really don't see all of this justification being strategically thought out in the design process before they actually executed it.
Yeah.
I think it was just some very cool, very, very good designers actually playing around until they found something that worked and then giving a reason behind it.
Yeah. It makes it just easier to sell it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
At the end of the day.
Yeah.
Okay, so 3 defining features. The first one, notches near the axis provide dimensionality and honor the previous logo. The negative space reveals arrowheads.
Okay. Yes, they do.
The second, a wider view reveals an abstract percentage sign, nodding to our financial market heritage.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, you need a lot of imagination to see the percentage sign.
Yeah, but I also need a narrator in a YouTube video actually to to explain this to me, because I'm definitely not going to see this in the logo.
No. And the third one, a balance. Buyers and sellers coming together on a level playing field. Okay, fair enough.
Transparency, I suppose. Yeah.
Okay, and then we have here, they can use the logo now, the word mark flying around the logo. So they have a horizontal version and a vertical. Okay. Because we also should mention who did that.
Yes.
I think it's like a in-house team together with like a creative group of people. I think around a guy called Michael Leon.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a lot of people who also worked for Sonos and Patagonia. So I think
and Nike as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can see somehow where this comes from.
So it's kind of, I know they got an A team together of designers somehow to
which is
put this together, which is, I'm sure StockX has the money to be able to do this, and it's definitely a wise thing to do with such a big product launch.
Yeah, I like this approach too, to have more like this team of experts than having like a huge agency working on it.
Yeah, absolutely. We see that more and more, I think, these days.
Okay, then here one more video where we see like the elements who come out of this logo and how you can play with them.
Yeah, let's see. Maybe the patterns on paper. I think maybe they're actually gearing up to do collaborations. I mean, if you use this as patterns on the paper inside a box, or if they start to create their own products, for example, their own clothing line, or even sneakers, maybe, who knows? But if they have that kind of reach and that value with their consumers, it could be a market that they're thinking about.
Yeah, for sure.
And this is definitely an evolution of being able to do it with the brand assets that they actually have. So yeah, let's see how that plays out.
Yeah, a little bit of off-white in there, but
yeah,
no, it's fine. I think I definitely see that you can play around with these elements, also much more than with the old logo.
Yeah,
to create like more like a holistic design language out of that. All right, so here we have some strategy basics. So the vision is to be the world's leading marketplace for authentic products of current culture. The mission is to empower people with knowledge so they can easily buy and sell what they want. And the promise, StockX is your source for what's now and next, empowering you to trade and express yourself with confidence.
This is the lifestyle aspect of, I think, how they're trying to expand the brand, and again, I can see that they're gearing up somehow to move into other categories.
All right, new color theme, as you said, no neon green anymore. We have more like, how would you call this, green?
It's more of, I don't know. It's definitely a more muted color palette. I don't know what I mean. It's an army green somehow.
It's more like a forest green, right?
Forest green, yeah.
It has this premium kind of, I think it's Rolex uses like a similar green, right?
Racing green.
Racing green.
Racing green.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say it's, going in the racing green direction.
Okay. So main colors are green, black, and then this beige. Plus they have some secondary colors like yellow and like a red-orange kind of color. Just a few nice additional colors, but nothing too bright. So it's all nice, subtle. So it's nice, nice color palettes. Then they have new typography. We actually don't know which font it is, because I think so. They have a mixture between a grotesque font, which is kind of similar to Helvetica, I would say. Plus, they have as a secondary font, a serif font, which also has this sharp edges. Overall, I would say it's a nice font variation. I think they go very nice together, these both fonts.
One extra thing actually about the way that the products are presented, you can see here with the sneaker upside down on the handbag on the shoes, the color palette, and the color palette is muted, as we've said, but I know for a fact that a lot of the sneakers are very, very colorful. And if you look at the examples here that StockX have released, all the sneakers are very, very muted. All the products are very muted. But, the StockX becomes much more of a stage to highlight the products. But I'm just wondering how using these light pinks and purples and greens go up against like a brand new release of a neon sneaker, for instance. I think that could be a bit of a problem. But I would like to see how that plays out.
Yeah.
Because it's very well art directed at the moment,
Yeah, it looks
because
nice.
they have control of it. But once that leaves the hands of the designers, and I would imagine that there's art direction behind it, but the plethora of execution that needs to be done to place products, maybe in this way as it looks, could be a bit of a problem.
Yeah. Okay, then we're now getting into looking at execution. So what's out there right now? It's not much at the moment because they really just launched this rebrand. So we're looking forward to see more like a campaign or something. But they already have a completely new website.
Well, here you can actually see them counteracting against what I just mentioned, because this is a slightly different design language that's playing out on the website. I mean, if you see these hero shots in the stage, then there's gradients being used. They're blocking out the typography with the black box at the background. It's a very easy kind of default to go to, and it's very difficult to put text over images. So it's one thing that you can do to do it like this. But yeah, I'm seeing like two different kind of opposing design languages playing out here.
Yeah. But overall, I think the website feels very good already. So I think quite often when there's like a rebranding, then you go to the website and they may have like something going on the landing page. But once you click deeper into the website, then it's actually the old website. But they have like a completely new website. And yeah, they have this nice magazine section with a more playful layout, which I like, where you can see already like the typography and how they play with the graphical elements.
This definitely takes me back to the Stussy days in the 90s. Okay. And I mean, I was a big fan of the way that Stussy was presenting themselves, and they still have that kind of retro vibe that they play with today, especially the top left-hand corner where you see this kind of Air Max Day maxed out imagery, and also the way that they're presenting some of the people as well. I think it's a really nice vibe, and it definitely harps back or reflects streetwear. You know, the people behind putting this together obviously had a good understanding of the scene, and you see it being played out really well in the layouts here.
All right, and here we have like a out-of-home campaign plus some print. I would say that I'm pretty sure that these are mock-ups, very early mock-ups.
This again, like, it feels like two different things. It's like I'm looking at the website and then I'm looking at the out of home, and they just feel a little bit disjointed, right? They don't really feel fully connected.
Yeah, maybe you need to give them a bit more time to do that. Yeah, but you can see definitely that they use like the logo, in this case vertical, a lot, and also typography, which I like to play around with this. All right, and this is already the last piece of execution we found. So with some merchandise, pretty cool looking bag. I think these stripes on the back are like a metaphor for the stock market, you know, it's running
the
text
ticker.
Numbers ticker, yeah.
But already, I think, you know, this is validation to what we talked about in the beginning, that we're actually starting to see. I mean, the top right here, you have, it looks like some kind of clothing. Like a close-up of some badge on some clothing. I reckon we're going to see some sportswear or some stuff coming from these guys.
Oh, you think they make their own? They bring out their own collection?
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? StockX. High limited t-shirts. Okay, let's see. Yeah, that's all. What's out there at the moment?
Yeah, so at this stage we do a little bit of kind of reflecting and look at what we've just seen, and we will give our scores, and the scores will be out of 10. And yeah, I would say, from my perspective, I like it. And I know it's a little bit controversial because we've also read quite a few comments online as well. And I think haters will be haters, and it's just a natural thing when anybody or a brand touches something that people have an affinity to. There's often outrage. The same thing happened with Instagram. Same thing happened with Airbnb, for example. Same thing's happening here. But in my opinion, I think it's the right step. If you look at where StockX were with, you know, it's the traditional or the common scenario where a company grows much quicker than its brand, like super quick in StockX's case. You need to catch up, and right now looks like the right time. Some of the guys have actually left who started StockX, and it looks like there's some kind of expansion model for the future where they're possibly going to be creating their own gear. So you definitely need to think about a systematic approach to the design and how that can be expanded. And so far, from what I've seen, there's a couple of things that are not really working together. As I said, website and the out of home and the kind of general graphic design approach to it. But I would say good effort, and I think it's really nice to see real kind of design coming through. And for that, I would give it, in this case, I would give it a 7.
Okay. 7. All right. Okay. Then
With the potential for it to go higher in the future as it actually matures and we see it expand over different platforms.
Yeah. Okay. My take. I like it too. I think it looks really promising to me. I like the new logo. I like that it's, you know, it's like a combination of very geometrical, but it still has some warmth to it, you know, because of it's kind of rounded, like the shapes. I like the approach to translate then these graphical elements out of the logo. I think, yeah, it's just very nice for a designer to work with these elements, and it will always have like a cohesive look. I like the color choice. Typography, also very nice combination of two fonts. Also, they are not super exciting, but together they works good for me. So yeah, my score, I think I would give it a 7.2.
Okay.
But as you said too, I think there's like a lot of potential to go higher in the future when they used to play with these elements, and yeah, just when we can see like a little bit more execution on that.
Cool. Wow. So we agree for the first time in a while, I think. Nice. All right, cool. Yeah, so thank you as always so much for joining us and listening to us waffle on again about branding and sneakers and sneaker culture this time. Yeah, don't forget to subscribe and like and drop some comments in the comment section below, and let's get the conversation started. Subscribing and liking to the channel definitely helps us to grow and make more content like this for you guys. And yeah, until next time, take care. We'll see you.
See you.